La 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 la. You don't think that? No, 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 no. Okay? Hello everyone, Riley here, and today's movie is Dinesh D'Souza's documentary, The Death of a Nation. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dinesh D'Souza's last documentary, Hillary's America, pretty much swept the Razzies, and he even won Worst Actor for a documentary, which I find that pretty funny to begin with. Now, Dinesh D'Souza, if you know anything about him, is very far on the conservative side. He's definitely way over there. And me, I'm very far on the left. But I wanted to see this movie because I enjoy going into political discussions with people I don't agree with, and I've heard a lot of hate for his movies, and I hadn't seen any of them, and I wanted to know if the hate was coming just because people didn't agree with him politically, or because it was actually just such a terrible movie. So I went into this movie with an open mind, and I have to tell you, this is horrible. It is absolute garbage. And not because of politically, it is just a horribly made movie and just god-awful arguments. Where basically, I'm going to start this review talking about the structure of this movie and end it just going into why he's just completely invalid in a lot of the way he's arguing. Because this is the epitome of what is wrong with political discussion in today's society. This movie is exactly everything that's wrong with that. And ooh, baby, do I have some notes. So, first of all, the structure. This is not a movie. It's basically a prolonged political discussion YouTube video. Doesn't add anything new. It is just him giving his opinion and stating it as if it was fact, which is just irritating to begin with. And it is just a propaganda piece trying to be a bunch of people on the right saying, you see how great we are because we're on the right and we love everything that's on the right. That's basically all that it is. It is not trying to say anything new. It is just for him trying to validate other people's opinions that agree entirely with him, which is fine, but that's not a movie. If that was like a YouTube video or an online thing, that's fine, but this is said to be a documentary. That's not what a documentary is. Also, the funniest thing is that half of this documentary is scripted, acted, filmed footage of retelling what it would be like. So it's just retelling how Hitler may have done these things, or how Sophie Scholl may have done these things, or how this would have happened with Abe Lincoln, or it's ridiculous. This is supposed to be seen as trying to be more fact-based, but then you're dramatizing it and making it so that what are you doing, Dinesh? You're completely losing all validity by just making this movie half-filmed scripted footage. This movie is so long. It is so long, and it basically has nothing to say. And then at the very end, he tries to slap this message in that has nothing to do with what the rest of the movie was about. And it just honestly comes across as so lazy. Honestly, if you take out the filmed footage, this movie could have been shot and made in a day. Like, honestly, I could have made this movie. That is sad. This movie's format. You have news footage that he talks over with a little bit of background music. Cut to an interview in an undisclosed location. Cut to more footage. Cut to more interviews. And then just splicing all of that in with filmed, recorded, like, oh my god, what is this movie? What is this? Honestly, I don't know what this is or what it's trying to be. Now, he just says the same things over and over and over again, and he's just trying to left bash the entire time, and it's not even really giving new context or saying any really thing of merit. He's just left bashing. Basically, his main point is that the left is trying to break away from society, break away from America, and they're going against America's values, and they're dividing America, but by hating on them for an entire movie and doing nothing but left bashing, you're doing the same thing you're complaining about. Just warning, I'm just gonna talk about everything in this movie because who cares if I spoil it? It's his political opinion. There's nothing to spoil. Now, let's get on to his arguments. He basically doesn't consider the other side at all, which I wasn't expecting much, but it would have been nice to have him do it more than like once or twice, and it really, when he does, it comes across really, really terribly. So when he does consider the other side, he doesn't even try to discredit the entire idea. He just discredits a tiny thing that is somewhat not really related to that idea, and then says, look at it, everything's wrong about it. For example, a lot of people believe that in the early to mid 20th century, the parties kind of flipped, where the Democratic and the Republican parties kind of switched ideologies. And he says that's not true because people say that Nixon was the reason for it because Nixon was a racist. But Nixon wasn't a racist because he had black advisors. That means that the parties didn't switch sides. That has nothing to do with anything. That actually doesn't prove a single thing. And it is just infuriating that he just treats people like they're so stupid. Like, we're not that dumb to think that Nixon not being a racist has anything to do with the fact that the parties did not switch sides. He also does this in what is probably the funniest scene of the movie. This is a better comedy than it is documentary, where he says that Hitler was not on the right, like a lot of people said, because of the way he orchestrated his government and the regime and the Third Reich and everything that he did. A lot of people believe that that is on the right. He's like, no, it's on the far left, because people say it's on the right because Hitler hated gays. No one says that. No one says that. He says it's because Hitler hated gays. But Hitler didn't hate gays because the head of the SS was actually a homosexual. Cut to footage of Hitler walking in on two guys having sex in a bed. Then he like grabs them and takes them out of the room. And then he grabs another guy from underneath the bed. And then that's all they show. So that actually doesn't show that he doesn't hate gays. But then again, he did put thousands and thousands of gays into concentration camps and death camps. But thousands of them in there. So saying that he didn't hate gays because he knew this one guy was a homosexual, but he didn't do anything about it, he didn't kill him. Ooh, because I didn't kill someone who's gay means I'm not homophobic. And that means that he was on the left. First of all, there are many people on the right who are not homophobic, and there are many people on the right who are gay, or who are part of the LGBT community. And by saying that because he didn't hate gay people, or he didn't kill this one gay person, even though he killed thousands of others, that now he's on the left is utterly ridiculous. He also basically doesn't ever cite sources. He never claims where things are coming from. He just says, people believe this, but in actuality, this is true, without saying anywhere where he got this information. And he does like 5 or 6 interviews throughout it. But he only actually names who 2 of the people are. Where for the other like 3 or 4, he's just talking to someone and is assuming, because it's not me saying it, you must think that this guy is really important, so things coming out of his mouth must have more credibility than if they're coming out of mine. And the crux of his argument is that back in the day, things were this way, but now they have to be the same way. And a lot of that has to do with him saying, do you want to be a part of the party that's started by Jackson or the party that is started by Lincoln? And that honestly doesn't mean anything about today. Like, sure, we should know our history. We should know where things come from. But the fact of the matter that Lincoln was part of the Republican Party then does not mean that the Republican Party found all of their modern ideas off of Lincoln. He was just grasping at straws, trying to say how Hitler modeled everything after FDR and stuff like that. Another thing he does is he just says things are left ideas when they're just not. He just claims things that this is conservative and this is liberal when they just aren't. And he also mixes party and political leaning. He makes them the same thing pretty much, even though his point is to go against that. Where he's like, we need to go with the right-wing stuff, but he's saying that, like, the Democrats are synonymous with progressivism, and Republicans are synonymous with conservatism, but he makes the opposite argument other times. And it's just lazy. This movie is just very, very lazy. Like, so when he talks about Sophie Scholl, he omits so much about her, and he basically overly simplifies it to make her seem like the greatest person in the world, which, yes, she did a lot of great things, but it wasn't just her. He makes it seem like she did everything herself, when there was Hanschel, there was other members of the White Rose, there were other people involved. And yes, she did a lot, but he's making it seem like she's the end-all be-all, and it just didn't feel genuine. And when people say things in news clippings, he just takes them completely out of context, and he just says that they mean one thing when the actual words that they're saying don't entirely say that. Now, I haven't looked into all of the connotations or all of the context of what they were saying at them. They might have actually said all of those things and meant those things. But the clips that he was showing did not say that. So that's just a not good political arguing or making it make any sense. And another time, he interviews Richard Spencer. Now, for those of you who don't know, he's a very prominent white nationalist, and he basically is trying to say that the white nationalists are not actually, Republicans or conservatives. And he makes these questions, and he words them in such a way that he's trying so desperately to get Richard Spencer to say, yes, I'm part of this left ideology. This is progressive. This is not conservative. And Spencer just doesn't. And he still uses that narrative. And I'm sorry, but saying that Charlottesville wasn't like a real thing. That was just like a small blip. That's not an argument, because literally the head of the KKK endorsed Donald Trump. The KKK endorsed Donald Trump. That completely goes against your entire argument for that. And fine, if you're on the right side, be on the right side. I'm going to argue with you politically, but I'm not going to hate people just for some of their political beliefs. If you're like a racist or like a homophobic or transphobic or sexist, those are other issues entirely. That is not political. Now, my issues with him are not all based off of what he believes. It's because of the way he presents them and the way that he just doesn't treat people with any respect, and he treats people like they're idiots. He just treats people like they're morons. He strokes the egos of the people on his side. He just bashes anyone who doesn't believe what he believes. And he basically just sticks his head in the sand and goes, la 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 la, you don't think that, no. Okay? He's literally a child. And it's disheartening that he has such a giant fan base and such a giant platform. This long list of grievances at his really bad arguing, it's annoying, but it's not like life-breaking. The thing that has gotten me most infuriated about this is that it's not a movie. He's using his lazy excuse of an argument and saying that it's a movie so that it can reach more people, when he's just disrespecting filmmaking and actual people who actually make real documentaries. Like, the fact that this is considered a documentary and it's in the same vein as something like Three Identical Strangers or Won't You Be My Neighbor, it's disrespectful and it's disheartening, honestly. And that's why I'm so upset, is that he's using his own agenda and his own political ideas and masquerading it as a movie when it really is just not. It's just a dumb 1 hour and 49-minute iMovie thing that he just slapped together and didn't have any respect for the craft. He just wanted to get his idea out to as many people as possible. So, that felt cathartic. So, those are my thoughts. Drop down in the comment section below what you thought about the movie, about any of the political points that were in this quote-unquote movie, or just what you think about, should this be considered a documentary? So drop that down in the comment section below. If you like this video, drop a like on it, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon next to it. Now, as always, thanks for watching.